All right, in this video, we're going to pick up right where we left off. If you'll remember, what we are doing and where we're at is we're studying the economic theory of a marketing cooperative. And the way I like to think about this is we're looking at the behavioral assumptions and the behavioral patterns that we would expect a marketing cooperative to undertake. Now, the example that we just finished, case number 1, where the cooperative is maximizing the cooperative's net earnings, is the equivalent to profit maximization for a non-cooperative, an IOF, an investor-oriented firm. Our co-op, however, is not oriented towards the investor. Our co-op is oriented towards the patron, and the patron in a marketing cooperative would be the farmer that's selling the product to the cooperative. The marketing cooperative will then process it or store it or market it or whatever the case may be and turn around and sell it to some end user. So we're going to look at case number 2. So up here on the screen, I've got case number 1. I just finished this up. So I'm going to start a new page. I'm going to draw a new diagram, as is my usual pattern. And I like to do that so I have a nice clean diagram to work off so things aren't cluttered. Same concept, quantity and price. And we're going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to draw it a little bit different this time. We're going to have a downward sloping curve that is the analog to our demand curve. It's basically our demand curve, and that is the NARP, the net average revenue product. For all practical purposes, this is the cooperative's demand curve. And then we have a downward sloping line that's cutting through the very top of the NARP, and that is the net marginal revenue product. I'm going to change colors for this because I always like to change colors for this. Going to have a supply curve, and it's important to remember that this supply curve belongs to the farmer. This is the patron's willingness to deliver product to their cooperative. And switching back to green, we have a thing called the MFC. This is the marginal factor cost. This is our way of understanding that you've got to bid up the price of a product to convince the farmer to continue to bring you more product, right? So we've got an increasing marginal factor cost. And this right here is going to be scenario number 2. So this is number 2. And scenario number 2, you're attempting to maximize net price. Maximize net price. And that is going to happen where the NMRP, the NMRP, is equal to the NARP. It helps to have an analogy, and in this case, the analogy is comparing it to the minimize the cost in the supply cooperative example. So in that example, it was the second one in that one as well. The goal of the cooperative was to deliver the product to their patron at the lowest possible cost. And here the goal is to buy the product from the patron for the highest possible price. Now, not the direct price when you first make the exchange, but the net price, because the actual price that happens at the point of exchange is based on the supply curve. So we're going to go right here where the NMRP and the NARP lines cross each other. And I'm going to change colors just so it shows up easier on our diagram. And we're going to draw a dotted line down from that point. And we're going to call that Q2. So the quantity in this case is Q2. And we now have to figure out how much the co-op pays the farmer at the point when the farmer unloads the product on the cooperative. That's going to be based on the supply curve. In this context, this supply curve belongs to the producer, the patron, the farmer. That happens right here, and we draw a dotted line over, and we're going to call that point P2. And the 2 here is just because this is the second example that we're doing. So that is the price that the farmer receives at the point of sale, where they show up with their product, deliver it to the co-op, the price on delivery. Now what the co-op's going to do is it's going to do all of its paperwork, it's going to close out its books, it's going to finish its year, it's going to market its product, it's going to then sit down and figure out how much money they made is what they're going to do. And then they're going to look at the situation and say, now our goal is to give the largest possible patronage refund so that we can do business at cost. And in the end, this method's going to give the highest possible net price to our farmers. So from Q2, dotted line up to the net average revenue product, dotted line over, and that is into, and that is our highest possible net price, and that's the net price the farmer receives in this scenario. And the patronage refund is the difference between P2 and N2. So just so we're clear on that, in this case, the price is P2 and the quantity is Q2, and the patronage refund is going to be the difference between the price and the net price, and the net price is N2. So in this scenario, the farmer gets the highest possible price net, meaning when they're done with their patronage refund, they get the highest possible price that the co-op could possibly give them. So that is scenario number 2. Hang tight, we'll jump into the next one.